welcome back. Today we're going to be putting a HK Offroad hidden bumper. I got a 12,000 pound winch from Harbor Freight like you saw in the last video, and today, finally, the day that arrived, a custom hidden bumper mount. So it sits below the fascia of the bumper and replaces the core support. So let's get started. So here it is. I painted it up already. It's made in Los Angeles, California. Handmade 1/4 inch steel by HK. It's actually made with American steel. Also produced in the Los Angeles area. Pretty stoked. You got your two pieces right there. They're both wet with primer, but that'll sit in your core support, and then these will bolt up to it from the bottom. And then that will allow you to drill holes through the side, your core support, and support it. And then on top of that sits the 12,000 pound winch. Super stoked about, and I actually got a Yankum rope winch line, the heaviest one they can get, and the Grooved Fairlead. So I'm pretty stoked. Let's put this junk together. So we're going to start by removing the front fascia, and pretty easy. They made just these little clips. There's 4 on each side, and then you can remove this or pull the plastic over top of it. Once you remove these clips, there's a, right here is a little plastic clip that holds it on. Pop them off down here, and the whole assembly comes out really easy. Not much to talk about tonight, pretty simple stuff. What I'll probably do is I'll just pop off these black little things, pull the face off, and then it ends for some. Oh, there's also a quick release line that runs here, super easy to pop off. Yeet. Watch I say that on camera and it breaks. Bada bing, bada boom. And it's time to let that paint dry and hit the hay. So after struggling a little bit, plastic's old, didn't want to let go. We're going to remove the headlights next. It's a Torx bit. There's one up this top corner, and there's one down here. Headlights will just fall out, and actually it's a good thing I'm doing this, because I got to replace these, I guess these would be the fog lights. Replace those with some Amazon LEDs that claim they're 400% brighter. Sweet. Let's get that done. So we got one headlight out. That's what it looks like. Popped them off. We're gonna move on over to this headlight. This is the back side of the headlight, and this little rascal was the light that I'm trying to replace. Man, I wish I would have known that I had to take the whole thing apart. So I was reaching down in there trying to figure out how to get this light bulb out. It's held in by 3 Torx bits. So that's good news. Everything else just popped right out, fell right into place. Alright, we got the front grille off and we got the front bumper off. This was a bear. What you gotta do is these little clips right here on the front. You gotta pop those out. You gotta bend your wheel. I can't remember what it's called. Bend the plastic out of the way, and on the headlight is a bolt. It sits right here. Underneath, you got to get underneath the car, and there's 3 little clips under the radiator that clips the bumper out. Same thing on this side, and lots of wiggling. So this This Jeep was off-roaded before, so a lot of the plastics were all whacked out of shape. And here's the bumper out on the floor after wrestling it for a while, which is good anyways, because these side marker lights needed to be replaced, and I went ahead and bought new daytime running lights, I guess these are, off Amazon. Altogether it was like 40 bucks for new. So hopefully this one will record, because I can only cut it once, but we're going to follow the frame rail here and here, snip it down the side with your Sawzall, and then your rear bumper, your new bumper should be able to bolt right in here. But keep in mind, if you got an oil cooler here, you don't want to chop through those lines or it's a bad day. Alright, welcome back, dude. It's been a couple days since my last video. Just been ordering junk from Amazon. Got some new tire pressure sensors. Got some LED side marker lights. And then when I was sawzalling out the core support, I hit my power steering hose. So I had to reorder that. It was like 30 bucks on Amazon. But I'm just going to replace the whole thing because they're all corroded anyways. So I'll go show you what I've been doing. So I got the bumper all mounted up. It's a couple days later, and I was not that satisfied with the way that it mounted to the frame itself. So I took it to a local welding shop, and for 200 bucks, he put a 1/2-inch steel plate reinforcement on both sides, and then I just bolted it up just like the manufacturer says, hit it with some spray paint, and now I don't have to worry about it ever coming undone. I think the way that it comes from the factory is just fine, but for me, I like to overbuild things. So I went ahead and had him reinforce where the bolts mount to. So there's 4 bolts holding it in on some reinforced steel mounts. So hopefully when I put the winch on there, if I have a problem, it'll go ahead and pull the Jeep apart rather than pulling the winch off of the mount. But sure, let's get moved on to installing the winch. Move this composite, it's like a plastic frame that sits in front of the air compressor, because this is where the head of the winch is going to sit. And right here is a little sensor. It's like a airflow sensor. What I'm going to do is take a plunge tool and I'm going to cut the bottom of it out, and then I'm just going to super glue it to the side up here. And then I'm going to cut the least amount of material possible. This is pretty hard, stiff stuff, to leave myself some mounting space if I have to remount some of these components on here. So I'm going to take a plunge cutter from DeWalt, and I'm going to cut this section out, and hopefully won't interfere too bad with my front grille here. So I tried test fitting the winch, and unfortunately this was not wide enough, so I'm going to go ahead and have to wick it off at the both ends. The way that the winch is designed, it has a free spool handle that sits right here. It sits about this height, so this has got to go. And then this one, the top of the winch hits this, so this has got to go as well. So I'm going to use a die grinder, or a die grinder. I'm just gonna wick that plastic off right here, flush with the mount, and I'm gonna have to figure out a different way to mount the front facade so it doesn't rattle around here. Nice. So that's about where the winch is going to sit. I'm getting pretty excited. So now I got to throw one bolt in there, 2 bolts in there so it doesn't slide around. And then I'm going to start making a path for the wiring kit to run from the battery to the winch. Then I got to find a place to store all that. So let's get to work, start wiring. So we threw a couple bolts in the bottom of this, and it's perfect. So lucky for me, I don't have to drill into the bottom of this super thick plate because the template they provided were already perfect. Now it won't slide off for whatever reason and make me a 9-toed man. So let's get to wiring. So now that we've got the winch sitting and ready to go, my battery sits on the driver's side. I need some way to get these thick cables, so what I did was I took a pair of scissors and I just cut this plastic piece that sits between the AC condenser and the wall here. It's made of thin plastic, it's made to keep water out. I just cut it 2 fingers width wide, leads me straight to the battery, and that's where I'm going to run the majority of the wires up through that small hole right to the battery. So I don't know how this will turn out, either forward or backwards, but the kit comes with a handy dandy little wiring diagram. It's color coded, but it also shows you exactly where to put the lines. So if you're colorblind, you're still able to put this together. But easy day, wires up, Pretty thick, not too hard. There's only 4 of them, so you can't mess this up. And now I'm about to slap the switch on it and see if it'll winch. So we got the box on top. It was just 4 simple screws. Went ahead and finished up the wiring in the back. Like I said, it was only 4 wires. And then the off switch, it's kind of like a shore power switch for a boat. It's free floating right next to my fuse box right now because I don't know where to mount it. The cord they gave you is only about this long, so it can't go that far from the battery. I'll have to manufacture something else. But I'm putting in some, the rest of the bolts that go in the base of this, throwing some anti-seize on them and putting them in there. And then I'm going to see if this bad boy works. Alright, now that I got that tightened up, I'm going to put this on free spool, pull it out a little bit, engage it, and it's going to be the moment of truth. Either I didn't wire it right, or it's bad from Harbor Freight, and my puppy dog's barking at me because he just lost his ball. Be right back. Well, here's the moment of truth. I got it hooked up to a floor jack over there that's going to roll. I have to push the in, but oh, I got to turn it on. Engage the gear and the in button. Nothing. Something's wrong. Be right back. Yeah, I forgot to turn the shore power on, so I'll hop over here. It's a good safety feature. Flip the shore power to on. Shore power's on. Now let's go. Let's go in. Let's go! Woo! We got a winch, baby. Let's go, baby. Cash money, baby. I'll try and just film this one-handed and in the dark. So what we got here going so far, got it all wired up. Already tested it out. We got a winch. So I threw some zip ties on it, and I got to put some protective loom over that, of course. Then I got to figure out a way to mount it under the hood, that cutoff switch. But it's looking good so far. I went ahead and zip tied these cheap little Chinese blinkers on there until I figure out how to cut out my bumper so I can drive this to work in the morning. I think it'll last a couple days like that. And then we'll figure out how to cut up the bumper. Move on to the next step of finishing it up. Alright, now that we got everything all installed, I put the Grooved Fairlead in there just for show. Now becomes the tedious work of cutting out the bumper, some of the inner structure of the bumper, to allow it to slip over the winch and be hidden. This is going to take a little bit of time. So that's the plastic I've cut out so far. I've basically hollowed out the inside of this shell to fit over here, and now I'm about to make the outside cut so that the tow recovery points can poke through the bumper. Sweet, we're making some real progress here. I went ahead and taped off for the best estimate of where these tow hooks are going to come through. Taped it off so that I can cut a straight line. I also cut this indent. I cut it a little smaller than it needs to be. And then as I get closer and closer, I'm going to keep trimming. So it's about to go on there smooth. Let's hope I don't mess this up. up the white plastic bumper cutout. Lots of scissor work, lots of the plunge tool. It's taken me about 6 hours to get to this point. Just slowly but surely making the edge and making it as tight up as possible. Next, we're moving on to the front bumper. Just by observation, it looks like we're gonna have to cut it on one of these up over a little bit and back down. And then we're gonna cut a little access port here to stick our hand in, because right here is where you activate the winch, where you engage the gear and where you let it free spool. So I'm going to take a gander at this for 5 or 10 minutes, maybe go to the gas station, get something to eat, to take a break, and then come back and make the final decision on what we're going to do. And so far, it's looking really, really hidden, which I really like. Alright, so I got the silver grill cut. I just did my best guesstimate. It looks alright. I'm going to figure out how to make these edges not sharp. I'll see if I can find something from the auto body shop, like a rubber grommet or something. Go over that. I just guessed on this winch and it turned out perfect. Guessed right here too, turned out perfect. I tried to keep as much of the structural integrity of the plastic as I can. It's still very strong. But overall, it's really, really starting to come together. It's pretty much done. I'm gonna have to take it all off. And I gotta replace the power steering cooler underneath. And I'm gonna replace some of these lights. And then I'm gonna put it all back together. But pretty much done. Alright, so it's late in the evening. It's about 5 o'clock. I got it all mocked up. We got new side marker lights, new turn signals and running lights. I need to buff those headlights because they're almost there, but we got new light bulbs and we got new light bulbs. New light bulbs all around. Trying to get it to focus back up so you can see again. Overall, it turned out really, really nice. I'm really, really happy with the way that it looks. And I'm gonna wait for tomorrow in daytime to go test it out.